Hello, and welcome to today's lesson. We're going to design the first part of our website. If you want to create a graphic design of a website, it's important to install the right software. We'll be using Adobe Photoshop. A graphic design of a website might look like this. With just a few simple steps, we're going to create such a design. After the cut, you can see a new document. The width is set at 1000 pixels, and the height is set at 1250 pixels. First, I am going to activate rules by using the Ctrl-R shortcut. The ruler scale will allow us to read the dimensions of individual objects. If you right-click on the rule, you should see that the units used are pixels. We can add so-called guides by clicking the rule and dragging the mouse into the document. Guides make creating the design's structure much easier. These two vertical guides mark the content area of our website. The width of this area is set exactly to 960 pixels. Why 960? This ensures that even people with low-resolution screens can see the content without having to scroll. Let's take a look at an example. This is how a 960 pixels wide website looks on a screen with the horizontal resolution of 1440 pixels. You can see that there's still a lot of free usable space on the right. Now we'll view the exact same website using horizontal resolution of 1024 pixels. We can see that the website now takes up most of the screen's horizontal space. At such a low resolution, a 1200 pixels wide layout would look like this. We can see that there's not enough space for the website to display properly. In addition, an ugly scroll bar appeared. To avoid that, we're going to use a layout that's 960 pixels wide. Before we start drawing, I'm going to save the document as landytravel.psd. Now we're ready to start. First, I'd like to create the header's background, just like the one you see over here. Notice the color gradient from light to dark blue. I'm going to display the Layers window by pressing the F7 key. Then I'll create a new layer and call it Navigation BG. The height of the navigation is determined by this vertical guide. Now I'm ready to start drawing. First, I'll select the Rectangle tool. Using the Rectangle tool, I'll fill the whole space, all the way to the first horizontal guide. Now we need to add the gradient effect. Right-click on the layer's name and select Blending Options. You can see that the Layer Style window has opened. To add the gradient, check the Gradient Overlay option in the left menu. To select particular colors of the gradient, first left-click the gradient miniature and then use these two color stops. I'm using a shortcut to paste both of the desired colors. You'll notice that the lighter part of the gradient takes up more space than the darker part. Let's take a look at how I did that. Drag the right color point and move it to the left. The value of the location field should stop at 60%. The background is now finished. As you can see, the result is identical to the sample design. Next, we need to create the content, specifically the navigation and the search box. I'll do a quick run-through of adding guides, which will help us position individual elements. We'll start by creating navigation items. Select the Text tool and set text properties in the top toolbar. This is done in a very similar way to ordinary text editors. Create a text area by dragging the mouse, and finally paste individual menu items. Notice that a new text layer has been created automatically. This layer contains items of our navigation menu. We have now created a rough design of the navigation menu. If we look at the sample design, we can see that each link casts a slight shadow. Let's create the same effect in our document. Right-click on the text layer and select Blending Options. Next, click the Drop Shadow option in the left menu. This option will allow us to create and customize shadow effects. We don't need to pay any extra attention to individual options. I'll just select the right color, set the shadow's distance from text, and the drop shadow effect is finished. Next, we'll create an indication of this as an active menu item. The simplest way to do it is to use the rounded rectangle tool. I will set the color to a slightly darker shade of blue than the background. Next, I'm going to make a new layer and call it Navigation Hover. It is essential to place the layer under the text layer. Otherwise, the drawn object will cover the text, and we don't want that to happen. Let's create a rectangle which I'll insert into the space between these 4 guides. We're nearly finished. The last thing to do is to center the text. Click the text layer and select the Move tool by pressing the V key. Next, use the arrow keys to move the navigation so the first item is right in the middle of the rectangle. The navigation menu is now finished. Looking at the sample design, you can see that there is a search box right next to the menu. The search box has been created by the Text and Rounded Rectangle tools. We already know how to use these tools, so I'll simply copy and paste the whole group of layers by right-clicking and selecting the Duplicate Group option. Keep in mind that it's necessary to select a document in which we want to paste the group. I'll confirm everything and switch to our design. We can see that the header now contains a search box. We have successfully completed the first part of the design. Thanks for joining me, and I'll look forward to seeing you the next time.